What's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being confident? It's time to get the chains out. Is your tongue tied up? 'Cause this is not right, and I'm dangerous.
Watch out.
And you can get
So week 11 here. It's gone. You are witnessing in the middle of the Ash Dragons playoff celebration special, complete with ice cold beer and peanut butter crackers, the only way to celebrate. I do apologize. Well, don't have to apologize to you guys. It is like 10 degrees in here. So if the nips come out to play, you're welcome, and I'll charge you next time, but once it's free. So, what did happen? A lot went down. I'll quickly get to that and then go for just straight playoff, just hammering with knowledge. Possibilities, potential matchups, all this good stuff. I played set. I won, barely. 1 by 1. 101 to 100. Thank you, Mason Crosby, of all people. 22 points for my kicker. I needed every single one of them. And Thomas Rawls, little backstory. I am at Seth's house watching this matchup, watching the games, and watching all the updates from the plethora of injuries again go in and all the inactive, who's playing, who's not. And one pops up. I'm like, oh. And I say this out loud. Marshawn Lynch isn't playing. Matt's got him in his lineup. This is what being in fantasy depression does to you. Until this week, I was still there. Never once did I think Thomas Rawls would be a good pickup right now. Good plug and play over Brandon LaFell. So I basically say this. Seth had no clue about the Marshawn Lynch thing, but I do say this out loud. He picks up Thomas Rawls, and he scores 36. Dear Lord. It was brutal. And the whole time of Seth skinning his infected back porch deer, there were just notifications of Thomas Rawls score. Good Lord, he wasn't fair. But, hey, won. Sean played Matt, and God, who doesn't want to play Matt now? I know at the start of the year, we were worried collectively about, will Chop care? Will he set a lineup? Will he know 2 players on his team? Will he start active NFL players on his roster and maybe find a way to play someone off the Avengers like Iron Man in his flex? These were all legitimate questions, but by far the most absentee owner of the year goes to Matt, and it's getting bad. This week, he played 2 injured players and 1 on a bye week. I mean, come on, Matt. That's low. Ashton played Chop, came back and beat him on Monday night, so bad times for Chop. Joe lost to Cliff. And Estes lost to James. So, how does that shake up the old standings and playoff potential? Ashton, with your victory over Chop, you have secured a bye in the first round of the playoffs. So, congratulations there. And that is no matter what happens. If you lose, it will not affect you. I clinched a playoff spot, 7-4. But seeding is definitely still a factor. Now we have 4 niggas down there at 6-5, and Estes at 5-6. All still in the balance, kind of. Estes, we'll get to what he has to have happen. Joe and Chop, sorry fellas, you just missed it. You scratched the edge of it, but you just couldn't latch on. It was there, so Joe, Chop, and James, fellas, week 14. Gear up for week 14. So, what has to happen we'll start with Estes to get in there. Estes, first of all, you're playing Matt. You absolutely have to beat Matt. It has to happen. There's no way out of it. So, let's say situation number 1. You beat Matt. Basically, if Cliff loses to Sean, then you are pretty much in. that being said, if let's say Cliff wins, then you have to outscore Matt by 30. 37, it looks like. That's if Cliff wins. You have to outscore Matt by 30. If Cliff loses, you still, I mean, you need to win, Estes. Basically, if you don't win, there's no way possible. If Cliff loses and you win, unless Cliff scores 50 more points than you this week, you are in, Estes. So, I suggest you win. Cliff, dude, you are going to have to make it rain. I'm talking heavy rain if you lose. If you win, you're safe. All of you guys at 6 and 5, if you win, you are absolutely safe. Some have a little bit more securities with a loss, but Cliff, there's no way around it unless you just make it absolutely rain. If you lose, you're probably done. Unless Estes loses, in which case you're safe. Seth, what has to happen for you? You play James. A victory. That would be good times. But if you lose, let's say you lose, and that leaves you still there at 6 and 5. Let's say Estes wins. Cliff loses. You're safe. So, really, there's not much of a way. I mean, one person out of 6 and 5, out of 2, is not going to be, there's no way both of them are going to be 7 and 5. So, you know, you can basically set that if you lose, let's say Cliff loses. If Cliff scores 80 more points than you, then you are out of the playoffs. So that has to happen for you not to get in. If you lose, Cliff loses, and he does. Ow! If Cliff wins, let's say Cliff wins and you lose, then you have to score 32 more points than Sean in order to be safe. So that's the tie-breaking there. Matt, looking rough. You have to score 30 more points than Sean if both of you lose. If Cliff wins, he's safe. If Cliff loses, he has to score. Let's say you lose and Cliff loses. He has to score, looks like right at 80 points as well. So, basically you guys at 6 and 5, with the exception of Cliff. A loss, you are pretty safe. But if Cliff wins and you lose, it's going to get interesting. Same goes for you, Sean. Not a whole lot different than what I've said before. So, the Sean and Cliff matchup is huge, and the Matt and Estes lineup is matchup is huge, because if Estes loses, and all 4 of you guys sitting at 6 and 5 are, you're there. So, right now, if the season ended, if it was cut off, what would be the current playoffs? We'll say this is the top half of the bracket for the main one. Ashton gets a bye, I get a bye. This is if it ended today. Of course, this next week, there's a lot that could go down if I lose. Seth would play Matt on Ashton's side of the bracket. So Ashton would play the winner of Seth and Matt. And I would play the winner of Cliff and Sean. So, depending on how it goes down, Cliff could play Sean the next 2 weeks. Loser's bracket, Joe and Estes faces off, and James and Chop. They will clash for the Chop. So, week 12. Victory beer always tastes good. There's a lot of games on Thursday, so check your lineup, see if you've got any of those fellas, because I would hate for a deciding week like this to come down to somebody not playing somebody that's suiting up, or leaving somebody on your bench that you wanted to play because you didn't check it before Thursday. So, do so. Yeah, that is about all I've got. I play Chop. Sean plays Cliff, big one, Seth and James, Ashton and Joe, Matt and Estes. So, still possibility. So, Estes, why don't you win and make it interesting for everybody? As for me and Tina, we're keeping it real. It's about all I've got. So, hey, week 12, it's a thing. Everybody, if I do not see you before I meet next for this, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Except I do hope that Sean's turkey is burnt and it doesn't taste very good. Through no fault of anybody other than Sean's. I want him to get the blame. So, hey, other than that, everyone, happy Thanksgiving. From the league, the commissioner, to Jew. Hey, peace.